This is everything I know about fly fishing, 31 years of guiding, 52 years of doing it in 5 minutes. So it's 3 basic casts. The one most people are familiar with is what you see on fly fishing movies. It's called a false cast, where the line goes backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. It wears you out, it scares the fish, doesn't catch fish. But anyway, it's a really important cast to learn for a bunch of reasons. The second cast is a pick up and lay down cast, and they've never found a shorter name for it than that. We pick it up and we lay it back down. So we might fish here for a little bit, and then we get sick of it and we pick it up and lay it down. And the fish jumps over here and we pick it up and lay it down. Pick up and lay down cast. So I'll talk about that in a second. And the third cast is a roll cast. Most people think a roll cast, which is, let me show you, this is a roll cast. This is a bad roll cast. This is a better roll cast. Most people think of a roll cast for when there's trees behind, because we don't need any distance behind us much to make the cast. But it's a really good get out of jail cast. So when the line's all close to you and all messed up, we can pull it tight and roll cast it before we pick up and lay down cast. So it's a good cast in the wind because the fly doesn't go past me. If it was windy and it's dangerous, the fly leaves the water from in front of me and goes forward. So there's a whole bunch of reasons why roll cast is a good cast. So 3 basic casts: false cast, pick up and lay down cast, roll cast. So let's start with the false cast first. When you're false casting, you need to make sure the loop shape is right. A typical beginner's loop would be like this at the back and like this at the front. This is a big wide open loop where the important part of it, the top part of it, the top leg of the loop, is curved like a roof of an inside roof of an igloo or a dome or a rainbow. We don't want a curved top leg. The better loop is a parallel loop where the top leg here is straight, and the back cast loop and the forward cast loop should be in alignment with each other. We don't want a low back cast and a horizontal forward cast. The two should be always aligned. So that's a loop we're trying to aim for. The third loop, which we don't want, and if you're an intermediate caster and even a somewhat experienced caster, you're more likely to throw this loop where the top leg wants to dip down, the fly here wants to go down and collide with the bottom leg, and it potentially tangles. If it doesn't tangle and gets past, then it might tangle on the way up for the second crossover point. And if it goes on the wrong side, it makes a wind knot, and that's how you get wind knots. Wind knots are not caused by the wind, they're caused by tailing loops. Now, we don't want either is a tailing tendency, where the top leg's got a curve in it. Now, it doesn't cross over, so it doesn't tangle, but it's a really poor energized cast, and it's not an accurate cast. And in the last part of the fly's delivery, the fly comes up away from the water, and if it's a fluffy dry fly, it'll blow any old where. We want a top leg that's straight and obviously aimed as best we can at the target. So loop shapes 101. So what changes the loop shape? There's a whole bunch of reasons. The first thing that you need to keep in mind is we need to have smooth acceleration all the time. We don't want a jerky cast. It's got to be smooth at different speeds, smooth and slow, smooth and medium speed, and smooth and really fast sometimes, but it has to be smooth acceleration. So if you're going to do the cast and you start with the rod on your back cast at 0 miles an hour, for the Americans, 0 miles an hour, and you need a top speed of 40 miles an hour, you can't go 0, 30, 31, 32, 33, 39, 40. You've got to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. It has to be smooth acceleration. That is a given. So if we have smooth acceleration, the thing that makes a big open loop for a beginner, as opposed to the loop we want, which is parallel with a straight top leg, and the one we never want, which is a tailing loop, is simply the arc that we use. So in terms of the rod arc, when I cast, I move the rod in an arc, like it's like a slice of pizza. This is a small slice of pizza, there's a bit bigger slice of pizza, and there's a really big fat slice of pizza. This is a casting arc. If you have too small a casting arc for the amount of line and speed, you get a tailing loop or a tailing tendency. If you open up the arc and get it just right, the top leg will be straight and the loop shape will be parallel. If you're like a beginner and you use too big a slice of pizza, then you get a big domed tip path and you get a big fat loop. So I'm just going to demonstrate with the indoor rod the loop shape based on the arc size. Describe to me the loop shape. Is it fat and beginner's loop, or is it parallel, or is it a tailing loop? It's a very open round loop. So I want you to guess the arc I'm using from here to here, from here to here. How many degrees is this movement? So now I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to cut that in half. Instead of using 160 degrees, I'm going to use it half, okay? So that there to there, to there to there. Do you agree that that's roughly half? So now I'm going to cut that in half again. So we went from 160 to 80. Now I'm going to do just a 40-degree arc. And of course, as our arc gets really small, it's very hard to do smooth power because I've got a shorter space to do it in. So this is just perhaps from here to here, back to here. It's going to be jerky, I can't help it. I've got such a small space to get that energy in. So, if you make tailing loops, use a bigger arc. If you make big fat loops, use a smaller arc. There is an arc that's just right for any length cast and any speed of cast. And I can tell you, all the old books will tell you it's 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. That can't be true. It can only be true for a certain stiffness rod and a certain length and speed. But even then, it's only true for a given length. As soon as you lengthen out more line, you need to open up the arc. As soon as you shorten more line, you need to shorten up the arc. Full stop.